chair from an old Ford Econoline. One day, using a welder and this box tubing, and perhaps some more box tubing, I will turn this chair into a taller chair. That's right, I'm making a chair out of a smaller chair. What I'm doing here is I'm laying out the pieces. I decided the legs were going to be 2 feet, 24 inches long, and I put a bunch of marks on my bench top. You can see the 2 lines, but there's also a lot of little dots and stuff. Those aren't so easy to see. But I'm using this to kind of measure up how long to cut the pieces, and then later I'm going to use them to fit them with a grinder. And now grinding time. So not only did I get the angle cut, I kind of chamfered the edges. I've heard somewhere that that's good for welding. So with all the pieces cut, I have it set back on the smaller of the 2 patterns. And I need to make sure this is square. I don't really need to. But one way to check is to measure diagonals. So this corner to this corner, and this corner to this corner. And if they match, and they do, pretty much. Not perfectly, but pretty much. If they match, then they are square. By square, I mean like symmetrical. Obviously, this is a pentagon, not a pentagon. Trapezoid, I know shapes. It's a trapezoid, but it is balanced. Doesn't have to be perfect. But, you know, perfect is good. Always strive for perfection. That way you always fail. So, a little bit of welding, a little bit of grinding. I have some horrifyingly bad welds like that one. You know, there's a non-ground part, horrible looking. Tried doing a few tack welds over here. Tried maybe a bead over here. And the least horrifying one after grinding was this one. Still a lot of holes, but, you know, not quite as terrible. That is the second to last one that I did. Now, so much more left to do. Yeah, the base frame done and ground. Joints ended up looking not horrible. Well, probably pretty horrible. But grinder makes them prettier. Not pretty, but prettier. May have discolored it a bit with the grinder. Some of it was really bad. Although I got really used to filling gaps because I burned a couple of holes through this. I think this is 16 gauge square tubing. But which one had the gaps that I filled? I'll never say because I can't remember. Think it was all of them. But moment of truth, sort of. Can I push down and bend it? Nope. Pull it apart? Nope. I guess it's strong enough. But this is probably the actual moment of truth. How much did it warp? 14 3/4 wide. Which is correct. Down here, 14 5/8 wide. It shrunk an eighth. A whole eighth. So I guess it's not perfect. It did shrink a little, but maybe my manly strength can open it. So here's the idea here. These are seat rails. Well, I designed this to kind of go around the seat rails, which it does. These are really filthy seat rails, but they kind of go around there. And this is a front and a back one. This is the first one that I did. We'll attach like, you know, here, kind of near the front, angled forward ever so slightly. Another back here, angled backward ever so slightly, and then those other pieces that were a different length than these slightly, those will go between. That was my idea. Lined up with these ones. So it kind of, you know, box it in. And then maybe I'll add more stuff later. I don't really know. We'll go from there. When I cut these at an angle, I was thinking of like boxing the whole thing in, you know? But I forgot. This is here. It sticks out the front. So I'm just going to have these jaggedy things poking out the front. I'll probably grind them down, you know, smooth those out just a little bit. Who knows? Gotta make this up as I go, you know? Okay, observation time. I did the second frame, and this side looks far less terrible. Still pretty bad, but not as bad. Ran some beads. Don't know what they look like after grinding, but I didn't do any grinding, and I didn't blow any giant holes in it, so that's a plus, right? Did someone say grinding? I think I heard someone say grinding. I think I prefer the flap disc. It's a little less terrifying. Okay, here's the idea I have for this. The problem is, I got 2 of these welded up, and I have to put them together such that they aren't like tilted. I want them to be square. This combination square is just enough weight to kind of hold this piece upright square to the bench. If I weld these on, according to my marks, and then take this whole thing away, get the other one of these I have, weld 2 more of these on, oh, then I have 2 that look like this. I can then put them together and just hope that they're square. So that's probably what I'm going to do. And, you know, grind away anything that looks wrong. So that's what I'm going to do. This would be so much easier if I had a welding bench. I'm going to have to fast track that to my next project or something like that. It's getting awfully crowded on these joints, and I have to be able to do them strong enough so that when I sit on it, they don't break and then impale me on top of these. So that's kind of going to be a trick. But yeah, if this chair breaks and I die, someone avenge my death. Go after the idiot who welded up this chair, because it was clearly his fault. Okay, so round 2. This is the second one, and I've done my major mistake. Can you see what it is? Put those on the wrong side. So, fortunately, I only welded a little bit, so they come right off. Yeah. Those weren't my permanent welds, but they were still fairly deep. Guess it's a good time to check. Looks like I did get through it pretty substantially. I've got quite a gap to fill up here. But I've filled gaps before. I suck at welding. Burn through all the time. So here's sort of what I did the other time. Obviously, it's not going to be square. Like, even if this held it perfectly square, when it's cooling, it's probably going to shrink. But I only welded on these inside edges. So what I did, flipped it around. That's what I did for the other one anyway. Set it down. Check. Actually, this one is pretty square. It's off by a few degrees. But I just bent a little with my hands because the welds, it's only welded a little bit on one side. Almost there. That one is there. That one's perfectly square. Bend that one a little bit. Square. Squaresies. There. Now final setting together. I think it's nice that everything kind of lines up where it's supposed to line up with all of them, except for this. That doesn't. There, after much yelling at it and forcing, it lines up better. Not perfect, but better. And you know, I once was at a lab in a school, and they had a sign that said, "Done is better than perfect." So I'm gonna go with that. You know, I'm always gonna try to do the best job I can, but also finishing it is important, and I could take forever to make this perfect, and to be honest, I didn't cut these very well anyway, so it's never going to be perfect. But it can be done. That can happen. Ta-da! It's together! And it doesn't even rock! Imagine that! The bottoms are pretty flush cuts. These top ones are all jaggedy, though. How did the welds turn out, though? Well, this one's pretty typical, I suppose. Don't know if that's showing up. That's basically how it turned out. Probably the best welding I've ever done. The lowest bar in the world to clear. But now I gotta get the top ready to mount on the other thing. And the top rocks. Actually, the top, I didn't really grind into these smooth, so some of them are pretty janky cuts. In a weird turn of events, it sort of just fits. Not perfect, but it fits. I don't get it. Things usually don't like work for me this well. I mean, it doesn't fit super good, but it will go together and form a chair. Ta-da! The hideous chair! I didn't record the welding, but you know, they look more of the same. Same kind of welds. You know, got the discoloration. Not a lot of spatter. I think I got the settings figured out, so that's nice. I got a little bit here. That's not too bad. And it almost looks vaguely like a chair now. It's a little bit more rocky than it was over there. I think my garage floor isn't level. Maybe I should have done a 3-legged stool. Those never rock, but I do tip easier. That's right about where I was going to put it. Okay. It fits in there pretty securely. Obviously it's not fastened down, but you know, I'll do that. I'll worry about that later. I'm just going to stop and stall for a minute before I sit in this possibly deadly chair and say that, isn't it great to have a clean garage? Like, once I get the cars out of here, just tons of space. It's awesome. Alright, enough stalling. First time for this rocky, unattached chair to hold human weight. There we go. And gently. Yay! It supports my weight. It's even relatively stable. Sitting in now, kind of wish I had reclined it a little more. Huh. But I haven't attached a seat. Maybe I can do that. Who knows? But I'm not going to do it today. This is all. I'm done. Seat works. I'm sitting on it. It supports my feet. You know, supports human weight. I'm not going to push my luck. End of video. Thank you for watching. I didn't die. This is a good day.